please put your hands together, welcome her, clap and scream and cheer for Chandra Jacobs.
Hi guys. First of all, can you hear me okay? Sound check's good? All right, well again, my name is Chandra Jacobs. I'm from EMC's Backup Recovery Systems Division from the Marketing Department. Today we're going to talk to you a little bit about industry trends in virtualization and convergence and how this can lead to backup challenges if you're still doing things the old-fashioned way. Then we're going to dig into some EMC backup recovery products, namely Data Domain and Avamar, that you can use as part of your data protection solution with your Vblock purchase. So we all know that IT today needs to change. It's broken. We're spending too much money just into sunk costs and keeping the lights on in operations and maintenance, and we're not spending enough money in new investments in new infrastructure, whether that's hardware or software. And part of the reason this is the case is because everything today is done in a silo. You have your compute, your storage, your network, your own hypervisors, and your backup recovery, and they're not integrated together. Something needs to change. We need to do something differently. At the same time, the market recognizes that we need to do something differently. In fact, IT administrators and companies are moving away from the do-it-yourself architecture of yesterday, moving more towards reference architectures, and then one step forward into fully converged integrated offerings of tomorrow. And this is the solution that VCE offers. So whatever your data center needs, whether it's remote office, branch office, all the way to core business critical applications, VCE offers a solution that will serve your needs. But for the rest of this presentation, we want to talk about the challenges of backup and recovery in this virtualized converged environment and what you can do about it with EMC products. So in fact, there was a survey done by ESG, Enterprise Strategy Group, and they asked IT organizations what their top IT priorities were over the coming year. And if you notice, with the increased use of server and virtualization, improving data backup and recovery came up over and over again as being a critical focus for their IT organization. And in fact, in data protection, backup and recovery in particular is still a challenge in these virtualized converged environments. 85% of people surveyed said that backup and recovery was one of their top 10 data protection challenges. And why is that? Well, it's because a lot of times we're still doing things the old-fashioned way, whereby we're backing into tape. Maybe we're doing weekly full backups with daily incrementals. Our recovery time objectives are enormous, 24 to 48 hours. This leads to limited scalability and increased cost because you have to add more storage, more backup storage to counteract that virtual machine proliferation. At the same time, if you don't back up your VMs smartly, you could actually have backup processes that impact your production environment. So you have to do something differently, whereby having a backup proxy to actually back up your primary VMs. So this is what we're talking about in the future. We're talking about an optimized backup recovery solution for the Vblock, specifically made for a converged virtualized environment. And for the rest of this presentation, I'm going to dig into these backup and recovery solutions for the Vblock, mainly based on EMC Avamar and EMC Data Domain. And with these solutions, you can protect up to 100% of your customer data and limit your data loss exposure. At the same time, I don't want to leave out the rest of the Vblock data protection solution offering. You can also get EMC Recover Point, which is replication with continuous data protection. And this can be thought of as application data insurance. And in the top layer of the Vblock data protection solution is EMC Vplex, which allows you to do business continuity and workload mobility. And this can be thought of as application availability insurance. But there's a reason that backup and recovery makes the foundation for this pyramid, because we feel that without a strong backup and recovery solution, you're not going to have a strong virtualized converged infrastructure solution. I want to talk about some key integration features that you get out of the box with EMC backup and recovery solutions as part of your Vblock. The first thing is you have direct connectivity into the Vblock. Our backup and recovery solutions are right within the VCE cabinetry. This eliminates having to have your dedicated backup network. It reduces network contention and configuration of core requirements. You get that direct cabling into the Vblock itself. We work together within your Vblock infrastructure. So EMC Avamar is deduplication software and system. You get faster backups with Avamar over your existing network. Basically reduce the data that you'll need for backup storage by 95%. It covers both the physical and the virtual environments, so you can move gracefully whether you're more on the VMware side or more on the physical side as well. And it's extremely flexible with use case. So whether you're talking remote office, branch office, desktop, laptop, NAS, and a variety of other applications, Avamar can handle that efficiently. And it has that high reliability for daily recoverability and verification that I was talking about with the redundant array of independent nodes architecture that you can set up with the Avamar data stored grid. And the key here is client-side local deduplication. This allows you to pull less data across your network when you're doing your backups. We'll walk through the animation here as I talk to it. Basically, Avamar software will divide the data into variable length subfile segments, and it'll give a unique hashtag identifier to each segment. Then it'll see whether the data is unique or duplicate. If the data is a duplicate, it won't send it across the network, whereas if it's unique, it will. This eliminates your network utilization by as much as 99% because we're only backing up unique data. We'll never back up the same data twice with Avamar. And on top of that, it sends the data compressed, so it's further reduced in size. And you have security protocols that are encryption, so you can trust it. Avamar is also great for protecting business-critical applications. So you might spin up individual virtual machines to handle specific business-critical applications. Well, you can also set up Avamar clients the same way to handle these specific agents on your VMs. This ensures consistent state for hot backup. We cover a variety of operating systems, and the best part is that you don't have to pay for spinning up Avamar agents. All you pay for is on deduplicated capacity that you consume. Now I want to talk about some of the integration points we have with VMware. This is through the vStorage API for data protection, or VADP. The same way I showed you how we did the deduplication before, we do the same thing on virtual infrastructures. We can deduplicate within and across virtual machines. So here's what happens. There's actually an Avamar proxy agent that's set up on a VM image proxy. Blocks are presented to that proxy, and it does a comparison to see whether it's been backed up before or whether it needs to be backed up. If the blocks are unique, it'll send it across the network utilizing VMware's change block tracking, or CBT. And this reduces backup time, but it also reduces recovery time. Let's take a look at what we did before. We had to back up a VM image proxy and then drag the whole thing back across the network again, kicking and screaming, so that we could restore that VMDK in a full image. Now we do things smarter with change block tracking restore, where you're only bringing across the unique bits and then assembling it back into the image that you need. You can get either file level recovery or image level with this technique. And this will make it 30 times faster than doing the full restore. 30 times faster, folks. The other great thing you need to make sure you do in your backup and recovery environments optimized for virtualized converged infrastructure is take a look at load balancing. So Avamar has universal proxy server load balancing here. Let's take a look at how we do it. So remember those Avamar proxies I told you that we set up? Well, you might have a number of them deployed across your infrastructure. We want to make sure they're all properly utilized and properly taxed. So you actually have automatic backup job assignment that's distributed evenly across your Avamar proxies, leading to faster backups. Avamar will query those in a round-robin manner to make sure that they're load balanced correctly. Finally, we can look at everything holistically through a single pane of glass through the Avamar administrator. This is the management and monitoring console. You can actually browse to VMware vCenter server from within the Avamar administrator and take a look at an auto discovery of your virtual machines and groups and monitor all your backup and restore policies and operations within this view. You can clearly see the virtual machine protection status. Here in our lab, we have a combination of guest, image, and none. And you can also have a combination in your architecture as well. So now let's quickly talk about data domain, and then I'll tie data domain and Avamar together, and we'll wrap up with the configurations that you can employ today within your Vblock. So So data domain is deduplication storage systems. They're a scalable system that can protect up to 100 petabytes of logical capacity. You get the same high-speed deduplication and network-efficient replication, about 31 terabytes an hour for throughput, and has easy integration points into Avamar. And when coupled with DD Boost, you can actually optimize your backup and work with Avamar so that you distribute part of the deduplication process to the Avamar client. This will speed your backup by up to 50%. And it also enables more efficient resource utilization in your backup jobs. So let's take a look at how Avamar and data domain can work together depending on your workload and use case. So if you're a remote office, branch office, or let's say desktop, laptop, Avamar might actually back up directly to Avamar data store. But if you're looking at high change rate data or databases, perhaps you might want to consider backing up to data domain systems. The Vblock gives you the flexibility to do both depending on your use case or workload. And the data domain, of course, provides an additional extension of capacity up to 570 terabytes for the new DD990 that's going to be qualified soon with VCE. Avamar manages everything from the Avamar administrator console, whether it's backups, restores, replication policies. So there's two configurations today that you can buy with your Vblock. One is an Avamar Play only. So we're looking at Avamar software, sending your backup data to an Avamar data store configured in that high availability RAIN grid that we talked about. The second is a dual play between Avamar and data domain systems. So Avamar software will direct some data to an Avamar data store, but most of the data to the data domain 670 or 890 with the DD990 coming soon. And this can extend to multiple cabinets as needed. And this is all, as you can see here, built right into the VCE cabinetry and deployed with your Vblock. And here's how everything works end to end. Just to wrap up, based on workload or use case,